felt fair to end this series. But they've opted in for Ike in game 3. He's on Trundle. He wants to bring this to its knees. And VICI's been such a challenge for JDG. The spring champions maybe brought to their knees by VICI Gaming. The 4-win streak here for VICI. The 6-win streak for JDG. 7-2 versus 5-3. JDG versus VICI, game 3. Let's drive into it as we enter Summoner's Rift. Oh yeah, show me. What's up there? What's up there? Turn around. Where are we? Oh. Here we are. What is that noise? What?
So, no matter what happens in this game, I think we can definitely say that VICI has fought back well. The cuts are there, JDG are definitely bleeding, there is no doubt about it. And this is a VICI that we now have to begin looking at as a real contender for those playoff spots, because their games here today have been absolutely incredible. And to be honest, I'm not sure if VICI aren't going to be able to run away with this in the early stages of the game. Like, when I look towards Ike's and Zika, I see a lot of setup in this mid lane towards Yagao, where a Trundle Pillar into the stun from Zika can be nights out for Yagao. And even if you get Kanavi trying to match that 2v2, the burst damage onto Yagao before he goes towards like the Rod of Ages might just be way too high for this Twisted Fate to do.
As we've already seen in the series, super easy to burn the flash with a simple pillar. You know, Yagao has to be looking at his positioning all the time. Zeke with the trade here, gold card in response. And Electrocute sends it right back. We begin.
So, both junglers now starting on opposite sides of the map. So, Kanavi trying to go from Krugs. He will start going towards that top side of the map then. And should be just about the time that Zoom manages to bounce this wave on that upper portion of the map. And actually, as I say that, Kanavi may be looking for an invade here.
Level 1 on both the bottom laners. Kanavi to land the spear, that's what he needs. Eyeboy behind the wave, spotted out. Javelin toss goes in anyway. Bit of damage onto Eyeboy will help the lane. But a good hawk shot from Eyeboy.
And it wasn't even intentional from Eyeboy. That was just the, okay, let's try and figure out where Kanavi is. Let Ike's figure out how he wants to approach his new jungle route. And hey, spotting out Kanavi now makes that a lot easier. And actually, Zika shoved in mid. Ike's is getting brave in this jungle.
Confidence comes through. Level 3 versus level 2. The pillar would put Kanavi against the wall as he walks back in for the trade. Red buff versus red buff. Yagao running in as well. The chain sets on up. And a good little trade here from Zika. Well, this is getting real.
Well around that pressure from Zeke in the mid. Might even have, actually, as Kanavi just goes for a now transitional move through the mid lane towards that top side. How Ike's is now going to be able to take this bottom lane scuttle, but he's already cleared his top side camps, which means Kanavi is caught completely unaware of how Ike's has gone through this jungle.
We'll just go back to Scuttle Crab and trade this one off. Ike's invade himself, but look how many resources he has in his own bottom side jungle.
And that's the thing. Ike's is actually up a camp right now. He'll start to clear the Gromp, he can move towards Wolves, and actually contest on this top side, because Cube is slowly going to start pushing out on this top side of the map. So if we get an invade, as we're seeing actually right now from Ike's, there was a potential here for, invade from Kanavi. There was a potential here for Ike's to...
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was a little bit funny. But for Cube to help out Ike's, but actually Ike's not going to be fast enough getting close.
When you miss a stationary target as Nidalee, sometimes you're going to get laughed at, you know? Unfortunate. Well, topside invade. They know Kanavi's there. Pings were getting spammed.
Yeah, they saw that Kanavi didn't have a blue buff, and off of, I guess Hugo stole the blue buff? Must have been.
No, just the skin.
Oh, is it the skin? Okay. But either way, yeah, Kanavi didn't have a blue buff when he went for that play on the bottom side, and that means that then when they spotted it, cool, we know that Kanavi has to be on top, so you need to play super safe Cube, and he's done a good job of avoiding any of that pressure. And it's just unfortunate that he's going to need some pressure here from Ike's to shove that wave in to get it to bounce back.
Well, it's all there from Blue Mouth. Nice little grab at him. What are we looking at in our lanes? CS lead building by Zika. We've been praising this guy all series long. It's what I love about best of 3 is, and I'm going to be critical here for a moment. Chat, you can, send it right back. That's fine. Let me tell you something. Best of 3 gives you a dynamic of a player and their champion pool. Which is why this series, what have we seen out of Zika? Game 1 was what? Galio? Game 2, Set. And then this one, LeBlanc. A very different dynamic. He's going to be on playmaking mid laner. This has been one of his best choices. So we get to see the layers of Zika, one of the newest mid laners in the LPL.
And that's what I love about him as well, is look, if you look at his champion build, he's played LeBlanc, Galio, Zoe, Set, but also the Akali and the Azir in there as well. Like, he's comfortable playing multiple different styles, and even Spring, he played a lot of that Azir, so I can't wait to see more of this guy and what he can bring to the table for VICI.
A lot of promise, as Ike's was spotted out starting off this Cloud Dragon. Both top laners use their TP, so they won't be able to join, but Cube doesn't have Death Realm. Cyclone is available for Zoom, and with the level advantage, Cube doesn't care. He's just hit 6 himself. Zoom has nothing. He's in the Death Realm, and what was meant to be the best top laner is getting close to getting solo killed. Cube forces his flash and stands tall.
So well played by Cube, and that's the power of an AP top laner into this Wukong. Usually, if that's an AD one, you're not going to be able to turn it back. Stone Skin comes in, Health Regen comes in, but Cube, because he's got Mordekaiser, he's gone for that early arm guard as well. He can turn that play right back around.
Zika's arm guard made a difference there with the trade. And after it was all said and done, Zoom with no summoners, Cube still with his flash. Loken, meanwhile, bottom side, almost getting that turret plate. And should be able to approach the wave now with all the shurikens. Pick up the first bit of turret plating of the game.
So the problem here for VICI is that Ike's is trying to play through bottom side. Yagao can join in super easily into this bottom side play, and it's a lot more difficult for VICI to try and play around it, but Hung didn't help the issue by going that far forward. You're just overemphasizing how easy it is for Yagao to get into this bottom side.
Dragon. The mid laner, so that CS discrepancy evened out a bit by Yagao getting that kill.
It's VICI now needing to figure out, okay, well, how do we try and exploit our map more so then we can actually try and make these plays happen? You've got the Rift Herald that's about to spawn, but unfortunately we haven't seen the plays that we were hoping from Mike's, like pressure towards that mid lane. He actually hasn't been able to get in towards bot at all. Cube is doing a good job of controlling this top lane matchup though, which is a big thumbs up for VICI. But other than that, JDG are definitely the ones that are in control.
JDG, the team with 600 gold in their back pocket. 700 after that play. Zoom going in with the Cyclone yet again. Cube does have the Death Realm though. He's pulled Zoom in. Second Cyclone to come through. Shield is available. Into the brush. Zoom will get Death Grasp back. Cube just wants this kill before he gets on out. Slams him down, but locked on down by Yagao. He's out though. Cube gets the solo kill and Zika helps. As now with the rest of the trade, Hung walks into no man's land, dodges the poke and Jetacross arrow, gets the slow eye boy. Thank you, Father, says Hung.
Hung is mispositioning so often, though, now it's really becoming an issue because he just got caught out there, whereas that should have been a play that VICI can play towards. You have the rest of VICI come up, if Hung takes a safer route, but then you can collapse onto that top lane play. You got this gorgeous front-to-back fight that is really difficult for JDG to deal with without Zoom there, but with Hung getting caught out, he's got to go back to base, and JDG get another objective for themselves.
They're really grouping up nicely, and now Cube in a bit of a pickle. He's walked back to lane, not respecting that the Herald being taken down means danger. The spear does connect, and Cube drops. Ike's a bit late, wants to take Lumao and flashes away. He burns his own. But JDG grouping up, and VICI are walking into the trap. Zika in with a double distortion just to save a bit of this turret plating.
This is so sloppy from VICI after what was two spectacular early games from them. They're not able to get very much at all in this stage. And unfortunately, twice now it's been Hung that's been caught out. And now VICI are scrambling to try and get themselves back in shape. And this was actually very reminiscent of what happened at the end of game number 2, where one mistake comes through and suddenly the cracks from VICI are exposed massively.
JG's team's going to expose it. They get the props because grouping up, really pushing the tempo. That's what JDG has set the ball rolling here in Game 3. We're almost towards those first items because of it. And a 1K gold lead at 10 minutes in the game. And it's a very good sign that JDG are not lifeless.
Yeah, Kanavi did get spot on that ward at the back of red, so Ike's has already pinged on this bottom side. They expect that this play is going to come through with Rift Arrows, so you will see multiple members from VICI start to group around this bot side, but it will end up being just a 3v3, and I'm not really sure if Ike's is going to be able to do too much here to help iBoy.
Okay, Graviton Moonlight Vigil. iBoy cleanses. Hung survives, but blocks it with the door. The hook comes in. Hung drops the ulti here onto 4 people. Ike's returns, but Zeke is coming in for the flank. Loken super low, in with the distortion. Flashed away, Graviton's down, and Loken survives. Now that he's locked on down, the javelin toss at max range, and Loken outplays yet again.
And JDG are so much smarter when it comes to these plays. And now Kanavi, he's got flash.
iBoy, he flashes away himself. Kanavi has Cougar gone too far. Winter's Bite pokes him down. Turret goes down. Kanavi survives. Next charge is coming in, and they're staying grouped as 4.
They're just going to shove in to guarantee that charge. They won't be able to get this turret, I imagine. Yeah, they're all going to back away. And look, I mean, JDG, they're now 2,500 gold ahead.
This is run out of control. And what more can you say than JDG just exploiting? While we can criticize VICI for probably their worst early game in the series, JDG punish mistakes. This is what we saw a lot in spring. One misstep and it spirals out of control. These constant skirmishes that come through. And much like the first one towards topside this time, Loken surviving, forcing everything out of the mid laner. And then JDG get the turret anyway. Almost a 3K gold lead at 12 minutes in the game. VG looking for windows, avenues to return this back to an even state at the very least.
It's plays like that bottom lane one, though, why we're praising Loken at the moment.
Yep.
Because being able to get that Infernum and then into the Gravitum was what locked down Zika for just long enough that you could get that follow-up and that beautiful spear from Kanavi. And having the Twitch reactions to avoid the flash in that was already coming from Zika, plus make that play, I mean, it's why Loken is considered one of the top 80 carries in the LPL right now.
He's sitting towards the Infinity Edge. VICI is starting this Dragon Dagda. I think Kanavi wants it.
Well, they've got a lot of angles of attack here from JDG. Yigao is in that bottom side. Dragon does go over. Can they get more, though, for JDG?
Now setting up for the hook. Close as gold card goes into Hung. Zika over the wall misses. Versus 4. And
TP.
zooms in. Triple Cyclone. And VICI are not getting out of this one. Low health bars. 2 dead.
I mean,
again.
Zika's trying, but JDG are so damn clean.
Yigao just BM to his face.
I mean, wouldn't you? You just had the perfect TP ward for Zoom. He collapses in on VICI. Like, yeah, you got a Mountain Dragon. Pats on the back. You did a good job, VICI, but JDG, they get the kills. They're getting towers. They're getting everything that they want in this game.
The hype for VICI very quickly dying down. And the hype for JDG getting built up why they have this win streak. It's Lumao close. Hook.
Kanavi shows them how it's done.
Ah, yes. We'll watch it again. As you said, deep ward.
Like, perfect. There's, like, the Nidalee trap and also the ward there for him to go to, and it's so easy for Zoom. They're sitting ducks. They've nowhere to go. No flashes, no anything, and I mean, perfect play.
That's all you can say. 5K gold lead. A minute and a half ago, it was 3.
And that's the thing. Once you give JDG a lead, they will not let up.
Holy moly.
And that's why we are praising VICI so much in game number 1 and game number 2. Because it is not an easy task to stay away from JDG when they smell blood in the water. But they did just that. Unfortunately, in game number 3, there's just too much blood because it's all over Summoner's Rift.
Destiny was just used by Yigao to get to this bottom lane. Clears out the wave, adds pressure. You can see pings from VICI now that it's down. Spamming towards the top side. They want to pick. And if VICI are going to get back in this game, they need to use that pick potential. The LeBlanc, the Ashe, the Brom, the Trotter, whatever. Find something, right?
Anything at the moment. There is always the pick potential thing. But it is getting smaller and smaller as an option when you look at that gold lead that JDG are starting to put up. But when we get to team fights, look, iBoy hasn't actually completed the Blade of the Ruin King now. Would have loved to have that for this impending fight at the Rift Herald. You do have Luden's Echo onto Zika, so he's quite strong, and if he can get onto Loken, can just burst him out, or even Kanavi to a certain extent, although the Rod of Ages will make that a bit tougher. VICI, however, are going to start up this Rift Herald. Looks like JDG may not want to contest with no teleport available for Yagao or that Destiny.
You know what? Maybe they want the pick instead. Hung. We get the exhaust down onto Loken. And Dagda. This is becoming more than a one-off for Hung.
I mean, he's only gone down once, but it's definitely been a couple of catches now.
The whole series. I mean, game 2.
I was going to say, I mean, he's died once here, but it has been a very big issue now where he has been hooked, burnt, like, well, Summoner Spell there, he's burnt Summoner Spells in bottom lane. That play in the last game as well, which really broke up the game for JDG. Hung just needs to take it a little bit slower. Even on the Braum, yes, you've got some tankiness and escape tools, but you do not need to be face checking or positioning in the manner that he is.
It's crazy because he got best of the Rift this week. His
gone to his head.
Yeah,
went
and
straight
like,
to his head.
I'm a good support, and I agree that he is, but this series, one of the weak links of VICI. And this game particularly, for VICI, they need to be solid. Again, take an inch, they'll take a mile. That's JDG. As Zika's sitting in the side lane now, and you can see the whole of VICI just want this pace to slow down. They want some items on the board.
It's going to be hard for them to try and do so, though, because a minute until that Inferno Dragon, JDG are going to love picking up a bunch of these, because especially when you got the likes of Kanavi, who's flinging spears all over the place, his ability to utilize those Infernal Souls is sky high, and our Infernal Dragons, and if he gets Infernal Soul, well, holy mother of God, they take on a whole new level.
Oh, yeah. An Infernal Soul. But granted, if VICI get an Infernal Soul, that's their window back in. That window, though, it's like, where is it? You're in Australia, and you see a picture of a window in France. That's how far away it is. I couldn't think of anything specific.
It's a window that you have it there, but you know it's a little bit stuck. You can't quite get it to push open. It's got a little bit of rust on it, and you're like, maybe if I wiggle it, I put a bit of oil on it,
and
might work.
And there's fresh bread outside the front. You can smell it.
What?
There's fresh bread outside the window.
We're going with
Makes you want it more. You know?
A few croissants.
Nice. All right. I didn't need it to be French, but okay. Herald's going to be put down mid. Yagao.
Oh, wow.
Perfect timing. Red card doesn't even matter. And now VICI, like, what do we have? Enchantress Arrow is down there. Herald did nothing.
I mean, it's a big swing and a miss from VICI. They tried to make that play, but unfortunately not quite able to do so, as Yagao, fancy fingers on that stopwatch. And now JDG, well, Loken's just going to solo out, potentially, this Dragon. I mean, everyone else in JDG is more concerned with getting vision and getting some control of this mid lane, but I don't disagree with it. JDG can do what they want right now.
He does it so quick anyway. You said he gets nerfed in 10.15?
Yes. I haven't read them yet, but I saw the Twitter stuff.
I've been told we're most likely moving to the patch very soon. As Yagao on a journey, where's he going? Hey, just behind him. Ike's going to be caught out and walks away. Okay. But you've burnt down a jungler.
And burnt your Destiny. So no flash, or sorry, no teleport, no Destiny for the moment for Yagao, which may open up a brief window for VICI to try and make some plays happen where they're not worried about a bunch of other folk from JDG showing up. But with the way the waves are positioned, it's going to be super difficult. Maybe Zika and Ike's can make a play towards topside as Zika makes it back into lane, but even then you can see Yagao is backing away. So JDG playing this safe and knowing that, look, Destiny's gone, but there's no objectives up for the moment. It's not like VICI are going to suddenly burst down Baron. There's no Infernal Dragon. Just take it easy. See if the play works. If it doesn't, no skin off our backs.
And you know what? If a fight does come up, Alun has sent the Infernum to Aphelios from the offshore facility. So that is now available. And Loken at level 11 now as well. Oh, iBoy.
Does this offshore facility get fancier with the more gold that Aphelios gets? Like, can he buy decorations?
I mean, that's where it all comes from. Uh-oh, Zika needs to run away, but Kanavi has so much chase. The clone blocks the spear. Really nice movement, but you can see Kanavi on a tear this game.
He has finally got control of the jungle matchup, and he is making full use of that. And to be honest, I can't blame Ike's for this. This is not an Ike's issue. This was more so to do with the positioning of Hung and stuff like that early. Meant that Kanavi got a couple of kills, was able to get control, and it is rather unfortunate that for this last game, after how good of a series we got in Game 1 and Game 2, a couple of missteps just lead to JDG running away.
And I mean, Kanavi free to do stuff like this. The threat onto Ike's, the level difference, the CS difference in jungle. Kanavi up 55.
And 2 levels as well.
I mean, it just tells the story of this final game. Close but no cigar. Does Graves really still not have a cigar?
No, he doesn't.
Really? Interesting. Hang on. Zoom time. Destiny used. And Cube, even in the Death Realm, he's dead. Zoom just needs to hit him a couple more times. Death Grasp nicely dodged. And that's the solo kill. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. VICI lose their member. They're moving towards Baron. Do or die.
I think it's going to be the latter if they try and start this up. So JDG are free to keep pushing on this bottom lane. If they can just stop backs here, well, Zoom gets through this tower. He can get through that next tower very handily as well. So right now with VICI very much positioned in this mid lane, Zoom can keep applying pressure elsewhere.
At least to be an optimist, VICI try.
Yeah, they are trying to. So basically the call here from VICI is, look, we're not able to fight.
That's not a trade.
We can't go for these aggressive plays because Yagao is coming in on top of us. Kanavi's too big. Zoom's potential engage is sky high as well. So we're going to have Zika instead, while they're making these pick plays, try and answer for structures and get some gold into Zika's pocket. Maybe then, when we get towards the 24, 25-minute mark, Zika can try and make these big plays, like picks onto Loken, picks onto Yagao or Kanavi if they take a step too far. But trying to accelerate Zika to a point where he can do that is pretty lackluster, seeing as, you got a pretty tanky Kanavi. He's even going towards the Athene's and Holy Grail, which means that he's got the inbuilt magic resist. And as well, Loken is going to be so well protected by the rest of the team and the heals coming from Kanavi that bursting him is going to be really hard.
Big job ahead of him. Hung and Ike, they want that pick onto Loken, but they will not find it. Dragging up in 50 seconds. And you know what? Any other game, I'd start saying, oh, this feels pretty much over. And in a way, it really does. However, what we've seen out of this series so far is one moment decides the fate of the game. So, let's see. Dragon to be started, and VICI do not want this.
I mean, it's an 8,000 gold lead for JDG. No vision control for VICI. They're being shoved right the way in. It's not looking very easy for them to try and have a way in, but Zika trying to position off to a side. VICI trying to move in towards this river as JDG most certainly have control of it.
What did they get with the arrow? Zika didn't even do damage to Lumal. There's the tails though as Death Grasp floats Yagao up with the gold card. Janikos arrow does hit the Twisted Fate. The binding goes down. Yagao locked into the back line. Bit of damage done, but Hung gets low. Eyeboy at half health. Cube pulls Death Realm into Yagao. Flashes forward while Hung dies on the other end. And Yagao's just out of there. Cube comes out himself and dies. VICI lose 2. And that might just be the Baron.
That is definitely going to be the Baron. And as he said, look, there's no damage really coming out from VICI. Zika is trying to go for the Void Staff, but he doesn't have any gold to try and funnel into that. Eyeboy as well, he's not anywhere near as strong as Loken right now. And okay, VICI, you do get this Dragon, it'll put you at 2, but Baron is in the hands of JDG.
It certainly is. So is that 10k gold lead at 24 minutes in. JDG looks like they're back, at the very least, here in this series.
Yeah, welcome to the series, JDG.
Yeah. But even in the stand, they were already 7-2. They're going to match with V5, although they're probably not going to Worlds like V5 are. At least this is the start.
They'll probably go to Worlds. We have 4 seeds,
oh,
but they won't
true.
win
4th
Worlds.
Seed,
like
V5 will be 2nd seed or 1st. Sorry. Yeah.
But either way, look, here's the fight. VICI getting picked apart. JDG barely even lose a scratch of health in this entire fight. And it just really does show why. Honestly, I know you kind of said hysterics that, oh, this This can turn back and forth either way,
Yeah,
but
not
after that
feeling
fight,
it anymore.
yeah, I'm not feeling it either. Aye, boy, he needs to be feeling himself in a very different place where he needs to move to right now.
I mentioned Bush earlier. You just said that, Dagda. We're all.
It's been a long old day, my friend.
Yes, it has. I mean,
moving swiftly onwards before we both end up fired by the time this day's end.
Don't worry. We go out as a team. Well, every lane being pushed, and VICI have to pick one. Where do you go?
It's kind of like, that
my
hook.
God.
It's kind of like whack-a-mole right now for VICI, but unfortunately they're the moles in this situation.
No, it's triple grabbing him even with the cleanse. This feels like the final fight. VICI holding on for dear life. They will get soon, but now Cube coming in. Can't absorb the pressure while Yagao just diving the Nexus turrets. And that'll be all she wrote. Kind of a disappointing way to end this series, but let's be honest. JDG were the favorites running in. VICI did some damage in this series. Still showing us that they're a team to watch, while JDG show us they're a team to beat. 8-2, they'll move up to equal second. JDG may very well be back to spring champion status.
JDG will close out the Nexus. They will take the victory, but they are certainly bloody for it.
Well,